What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video, and we come with a big news that Saul'S, the Spanish midfielder, his agents have flown to England to fresh out a deal for their client Saul'S, and Man United and Liverpool are the two clubs vying for his signature. But at the moment Man United only want to sign Saul if Pogba leaves, and that is still up in the air, that is still not finalized. Pogba could still stay at Manchester United. So I think Liverpool are in pole position to sign Saul because we already have a vacancy in our midfield. Wijnaldum has already left for Paris Saint-Germain. And if you are excited about this transfer news that Saul's agent is in talks with Liverpool over a potential transfer and he is in England to fresh out the deal, then leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And Saul'S has their representatives, according to the Mirror newspaper, have flown into England to resolve his future. And Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp's team is a very enticing proposition for Saul. Yes, Liverpool might not have won the Premier League title last season, but we won it the season before, and we won the Champions League very recently, and Saul would fit into Liverpool's playing style perfectly because he's a very high energy, a very hard working midfielder who could play in a high pressing, counter-attacking or counter-pressing team. And Saul, of course, wants to compete and win silverware. He wants to win titles and trophies in his prime. He enters his prime now. He's 26 years old, so not the youngest, but he has the experience of playing in La Liga title races, playing in the Champions League, and he is a big fan of Liverpool. He's a big fan of Anfield. He said very nice, very good things about Liverpool, how they don't let you breathe when you play against them, and he's a big fan of Jurgen Klopp and a big fan of how Liverpool play, because Liverpool's work ethic is very similar to Atletico Madrid's work ethic. They both press the ball and they both are very hard working teams, and Jurgen Klopp likes a high energy, high working, with a high work rate midfielder. So Saul would slot into the Liverpool midfield pretty seamlessly, and Jurgen Klopp's attacking style of football is something that Saul could relish as well, given his time with the typically defensive minded Simeone. And because Saul at Liverpool, he would be given a license to roam and to go forward and to score goals, something that he didn't experience as often as he would have liked at Atletico Madrid. Man United are also interested in a midfielder, but only in the case if Pogba decides to leave. That is the main scenario at Man United. If Pogba leaves, then Man United are interested in signing Saul, but if he stays, then they are not interested. Pogba right now hasn't signed a contract extension, but if he decides to sign a contract extension, that the chances are Man United wouldn't feel the need to sign a midfielder like Saul. But right now Pogba's future is at Man United is uncertain. It looks like, according to the newspaper, Pogba has made his mind up, and it looks like he wants to sign for Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, he's French, so him living in Paris would suit him probably, and Man United are not insistent on holding on to a player who doesn't want to be at the club. However, especially when he can leave as a free agent in 1 year's time, that's the crucial bit. If Man United want to sell Pogba, they have to do it right now, otherwise they will lose him on a free transfer, and they won't sell Pogba on the cheap, so they would probably ask for 50 million with 1 year left on his contract. But who will buy Pogba for 50 million right now, considering his wages are sky high? I'm not sure there are many clubs lining up to sign Pogba, and Paris Saint-Germain already spent quite a lot of money. They signed Hakimi for like 70 million or something like that. If Pogba stays, then maybe the likes of Jesse Lingard, Diogo Jota, Andreas Pereira could be sold at Man United. But still, I think if Pogba stays, then Saul is not going to Man United, and I really hope that Liverpool will throw a very good offer at Saul, because I think he can be convinced to sign for Liverpool, because there is already a slot in the Liverpool midfield available for Saul. Yes, we have Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho, but all three of them have been injured last season for a period of time, so Saul would get a lot of games, and in some games he would be our regular starting attacking or central midfielder, and I think he would do very, very well at Liverpool. So I really hope that when Liverpool sit down with Saul, then we will probably offer him a very, very good contract and also offer him a first team starting 11 place in the Liverpool midfield. Of course, Jurgen Klopp won't guarantee Saul that you will start every game. That's not how it works at top clubs, but he will say, if you work hard, if you do well in training, you will play a lot of games, probably 40-45 games if he stays fit. And Saul is a very reliable player. He very rarely gets injured. He plays a lot of games for Simeone's Atletico. He played a lot of games, but last season he lost his place in the starting lineup, and this summer Atletico decided to sign Rodrigo de Paul from Serie A, which basically further pushes Saul out of the contention to start for Atletico Madrid. So let me know, do you think Saul would be a great signing for Liverpool? I certainly think so. And I also want to tell you guys that Paul Joyce has confirmed that Liverpool are focusing on also extending many big players new contracts. He said this in the Times newspaper, and he's a very reliable journalist. Liverpool have prioritized new contracts for a number of players this summer. Discussions are ongoing with the likes of Alisson, Fabinho, Van Dijk, Mo Salah, Andy Robertson and Sadio Mane. Of course, it's unclear whether Liverpool are waiting to reach a £60 million target in player sales before signing a new player, but recent reports have suggested that our recruitment team is struggling to identify the right signing as sides across Europe continue to struggle to address the financial ramifications of COVID. But I think somebody like Ismail Assar and Saul would be a really awesome transfer window. I think that would fix a lot of our problems, and Saul, we could sign him for like 40 million, something like that. Ismail Assar, we could also sign him for 35-40 million. So Liverpool have enough money to make these transfers. And Fabrizio Romano also confirmed that Alisson is in talks with Liverpool on a new contract, and it's just a matter of time before the 28-year-old goalkeeper agrees terms with Liverpool. And he said that Alisson is in advanced talks with Liverpool to extend his contract, and he wants to stay at Liverpool. And why would he leave? Because he's just a brilliant goalkeeper. He scored an absolutely amazing winning goal in the last minute against West Brom last season, and that will forever be in Anfield folklore, and the fans will forever remember that. And also, further good news is that Fabinho is also in the process of negotiating a new contract with Liverpool, according to the player's agent Jorge Mendes, which is very encouraging and exciting. But there is also a very worrying report about 2 players out of those 6 players that we mentioned maybe will not sign a new contract. Kevin Palmer said this. According to him, there is an expectation that at least 2 of those 6 players, so Alisson, Van Dijk, Mane, Henderson, Firmino and Salah, 2 of those 6 players will not sign new deals, according to him. Who those 2 players are remains to be seen, but we can rule out Alisson and we can rule out Fabinho probably, and I think Van Dijk will also sign a new contract. So that leaves Mane, Henderson, Firmino and Salah. The biggest worry is for me Mo Salah, but also losing Henderson or Mane would be absolutely devastating for Liverpool. Firmino is the only player that I think if we would lose him, in terms of, I mean, he doesn't sign a new contract, Liverpool decide to sell him, cash in, and then we can sign a new striker. Lautaro Martinez is on the market, he is for sale. I would go for him. If Liverpool have £50 million for that deal, I think that would be absolutely terrific signing. Absolutely perfect. Lautaro Martinez would be for our high pressing, high energy playing style. So Firmino replaced with Martinez, I think would actually probably even improve our team. But losing Mane or Salah right now, or even Henderson, that would definitely weaken Liverpool considerably. Considering the age range of these players, the report comes as little surprise. Unfortunately, FSG's policies seem to be out with the old, in with the new, potentially leaving those players that are reaching 30 years old, wanting a big contract, potentially that leaves them without a new contract. And that could be absolutely devastating. I don't want to see another 40-50 million pound player like Wijnaldum leave on a free transfer, because Wijnaldum at 30 years old could still be worth 40 million if he still had a 3-year contract at Liverpool. So we let a 40 million pound player just walk out of the door when we don't have the most money and don't have the most brilliant finances. It was tough to take for me, and I think it was tough to take for many Liverpool fans. But imagine the uproar if Henderson or Salah or even Mane leave on either a free transfer or a regular transfer. If either of them leave on a free transfer, then FSG are absolute morons. So that's the problem. We need to sit down with these players, try to negotiate a contract with them, and if some of them want a much bigger wages than what FSG are offering, then maybe Liverpool will decide to sell one or two of them next summer. And I think that's when the serious rebuild will start. Next summer, Firmino, Mane, Salah and Van Dijk will be 31 years old. Henderson will be 32. So there will be definitely a need for a rebuild, for a fresh new faces. Hopefully the Liverpool finances have recovered fully by then. But I don't buy this that Liverpool don't have any money. I think we still have quite a lot of money. We are just waiting for the right deal or the right deals to come about. So let me know, what do you think about all these contract talks, all this contract situation? Who Liverpool cannot afford to lose? I think we can't lose Van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, Salah, Henderson and Mane. So potentially out of those players that are looking for a new contract, as I said, maybe Firmino is the only player that I think we could replace with Lautaro Martinez. But the other players will be very, very difficult, not almost impossible to replace, especially Salah and Henderson. Pep Yinders, also the assistant coach of Liverpool, said very high praise for Diogo Jota. He said, "It's great Diogo has joined us because you could see immediately the speed he has, and at the same time so much control over his body and the ball. It's frightening actually what he can do. He gives our front line a lot of direction and energy. Diogo is not a typical Portuguese winger who receives the ball to his feet and creates disorganization with dribbles from outside. Diogo is vertical. He's a second striker in the box, a pure Liverpool winger. He smells the goal and he is technically on a very high level, especially with our passing game. We need Diogo's movements in behind the last line. He defends on a very, very high level. And I'm really excited for the new season, because if Diogo Jota can stay fit, he can easily score 20-25 goals in this Liverpool team. And I will probably put him in my fantasy football team as well when I create it. I will make a video about that later. And Jamie Carragher also said that Liverpool have to be very careful with Virgil van Dijk and ease him back gradually. He said, I think we have to be careful with Van Dijk, and I think Jurgen Klopp will be. I don't think we should expect that Virgil van Dijk comes back into Liverpool and Liverpool are going to automatically win the Premier League again this season. He has had a really serious injury and he has got to make sure he's not rushed back. If he's back to his best, the best central defender in world football, and that's what Liverpool will want over the next 5 or 6 years and not the next 5 or 6 weeks. If he doesn't make the first game of the season, it's not the end of the world. It is about making sure Van Dijk is 100% right, so he's in a position where he can have the next 5 or 6 years at Liverpool at the top level. It may be a gentle start with Virgil until we see him when he is 100% right, but if that could be on that first game of the season and he can play the next few games, I think everybody would be delighted. I don't really envy Jurgen Klopp picking that centre-back partnership for the first game. Right now, if everyone is at their absolute best, the partnership has always been Gomez and Van Dijk, but I think it's going to be difficult for them to be at their absolute best, as both have had serious long-term injuries, and whether Konate can break that partnership up and Matip always comes in and does a very good job, that remains to be seen. It's always difficult to answer, as I don't think all the centre-backs will be 100% fit and firing. They will need to get confidence and games and get that belief back. I think in terms of numbers, Liverpool don't have a problem. It's the quality. If Liverpool don't bring in another addition who can score goals from midfield or as a forward, then it may be difficult to finish ahead of Man City. And let's not forget Chelsea, who are two European champions, Man United, who had a great window so far, signing Varane and Sancho. So Jamie Carragher wants Liverpool to sign someone who would get goals, whether that's from midfield or the front three. And he said he's expecting a big season from Sadio Mane, and I expect a big season from Sadio Mane as well. I think that would be really, really important that Mane also scores 20-25 goals and eases the burden on Salah. If Mane and Jota can stay fit next to Salah, then I think they can easily score 20 goals each, and Salah hopefully scores again 30 goals each, 30 or 30 plus goals, and that would leave Liverpool with a very good chance of winning the title. And what I was also very excited about is Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's just signed a new 4-year contract at Liverpool. He said that he can see himself being a Liverpool captain one day. He said, I see, Pep Yinders, the manager, assistant coach, said, I see a leader, I see someone who controls his emotions, a future captain in Trent Alexander-Arnold, a leader by example, someone who is capable of fulfilling those roles and being a captain without necessarily having the armband on your arm is something that I've always wanted to try to be. And Trent Alexander-Arnold said it's about just winning things, leading the team as well in certain ways, being more of a leader on the pitch, off the pitch for the young players. Establishing myself in those kind of roles as a leader would be something that I'm targeting. I've got my eye on. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, after fulfilling his goals of becoming a regular starting 11 Liverpool player, the next goal for him, of course, besides winning trophies and titles, because that's always a goal at Liverpool, is to try and establish himself as a leader on the pitch, and sooner or later hopefully he will become captain. So I'm really, really excited and really looking forward to this new season, and I'm really hoping that you guys enjoyed this video as well. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, see you later guys, goodbye.